Hello, teaching profession embodied into one person. I'm Ofsted, also conveniently embodied into one person. How you doing?
Hi, Ofsted. I'm so good. In fact, I'm actually, for once, kind of happy to see you.
Well, what can I say? We have got rid of those one-word judgments, haven't we? Those teachers, yap, I've been in our ear for years and years. Oh, don't do that. Oh, one-word judgments are toxic. Finally, we got rid of them, so I hope you're happy now.
You know, I'm not sure it's quite like that, but it has taken us a long time to get rid of those completely pointless and really, really silly one-word judgments. I'm glad that they are gone from this system. One-word judgments are stupid. We all agree. So thank you for doing that, Ofsted.
We are going to start judging schools and absence levels, though.
Yeah. You are funny.
Yeah. Why are you laughing?
Yeah.
I'm laughing. Why are you laughing?
It's a sense of humour, isn't it?
Yeah,
You've developed one finally.
No, I'm being deadly serious, though.
One-word judgments.
Yeah.
It's funny. But
no, we are going to do that, though, because I do think absence crisis, big buzzword, all the newspapers say it, all big absence crisis. So, as the people who are in charge, we are in charge of you. Remember who's in charge. It's me. Okay, we decided to get rid of one judgment. That was our choice, not you. Yap. So we've decided equally to bring in judgments for schools for absence levels because there's too many absent children. And whose fault is it if not the schools?
Well, the kids don't live at school with us, the teachers.
Precisely, we want them to.
We don't get them to school.
Yeah,
Funnily enough, actually, if you really think about it for a second, it's quite complex. But the parents and carers who look after the children who take them to school are not the teachers at the school.
No. And which is why I think it's fair enough to blame the teachers for absence.
Teachers?
Yeah. It's the teacher's fault.
That makes no sense.
No, I don't think it makes perfect sense if you actually think about it for a minute. But don't worry, it is part of a wider range of initiatives from the government across the board, not just education. So in the food sector and agriculture, we're actually going to start blaming the shops because of the amount of food waste that families at home put into the landfill. That's definitely the shop's fault because why would the shops sell the food in the first place, not knowing that the people would choose to not eat that food? So it's definitely Tesco's fault. So we're going to start moaning at Tesco. Furthermore, we're going to go after the gyms. Because do you know what? What screams it's the gym's fault more than someone signing up to the gym and then choosing not to go themselves? I think that is absolutely down to the gym. It's down to the supermarkets. It's down to the schools. And it's time someone started holding these people accountable for things that they've got nothing to do. I mean, the things that they are absolutely, definitely to do with.
Have you lost your mind?
I think I have.
Have you?
Yeah, but we'll see you next week anyway. We're in for an inspection. See ya. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Teach, Sleep, Repeat. My name is Dylan.
And my name is Hayden.
We did a skit this week.
It was a bit silly, wasn't it?
It was a little bit silly, but it was also grounded in absolutely ridiculous news.
Yeah.
That came out this week. Sorry to bring the tone down immediately. But how insane does an organisation have to be when you spend, this sums up education, spend years and years and literal years saying how insane something they do is, which is the one-word judgments, for them to just turn around and say that they're going to start judging schools in absence now.
Yeah.
I actually can't fathom it, and almost all the goodwill that I was willing to give them is already just gone.
They've got ODD.
What do you mean?
Oppositional defiance disorder.
Oh, right.
You know when, not you. You know when someone tells you to do. You know when someone tells you to do something, you're like, well, I'm not doing it now in case you think I did it because of you. They're like, if we get rid of one-word judgments, they'll start thinking we're listening. So I tell you what, we're going to bloody give them another one.
Do you know what we can do though? Just to tick a box. Let's do a massive survey and call it not just the listen. Let's call it the big listen. We are not just listening. We are big listening. We're also big ignoring.
And we're big inventing new things that you'll hate.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Who did they talk to when they came up with it?
Obviously no one.
Yeah, I don't get it. Who's in these buildings?
Yeah.
Listen, put Teach, Sleep, Repeat on every now and then. It might knock some sense into you.
Old Rishi used to listen. I mean, he ignored us, but he was there listening.
I've got a feeling Rach Reeves, old Rach, might be listening.
Why is that?
Well, I don't know. The budget. Did you see much of that budget?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
There was obviously the main bulk of it was just saying how awful the last 14 years have been.
Yeah.
And do you know what? A little bit of me absolutely loved it.
The black hole that the Tories have left.
Do you know what's hilarious about the black hole? Because obviously in the media and stuff, and the Tories are obviously saying, that's ridiculous. We didn't leave a black hole. The OBR, who are like the independent body for like budget responsibility in this country, have published a document saying, no, you absolutely didn't tell us that all of this amount of money was missing, line by line. And Rachel Reeves has just said, I'm going to publish it line by line where all this 22 billion was that you said was missing.
Yeah.
But the OBR have evidence that the Tories literally left it out. And then called an election. Do you remember when we were like, why is he calling an election now?
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
Because Labour had to come in and settle all the strikes, have that massive black hole funded.
Yeah.
And I just thought to myself, Jeremy Hunt, who was the Chancellor beforehand, came out and said, basically, the OBR are biased. They're biased. They're politicising the OBR. And I'm just like, we live in a point in society now, in culture in general, where no one can do anything wrong because they'll just say that they're biased.
Yeah.
It's just immediate. It's like this independent body has said that you did something horrendously wrong.
Yeah.
And it's okay because you can just say, well, I don't believe him.
The irony of everyone reading that in the newspapers that are owned by them.
Yeah.
It's all biased. It's all biased. Everyone consume this media. Look how biased this objective thing
OBR
is.
are biased. The Daily Mail told me so.
Honestly, we live in a farce. Honestly, it's just a joke. It is a joke.
But I honestly thought in general the budget was quite sensible.
Yeah.
And the bit that to do with education, that I am joking about the fact she was listening to us, because last week we talked a lot about SEND provision, how it's broken.
Yeah.
I don't think it goes nearly far enough to actually fix the crisis. But it's over £1 billion been invested specifically into SEN. And it's a massive real terms increase in budgets for schools. I think it's almost 20%. You know, it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
You can't immediately fix what's happened for 14 years. I think I've said this a lot.
We said it last week.
Yeah, I honestly feel like we're past the point of no return. But I feel like it's nice at least to see a movement in a direction. And if that means that inheritance tax increases a bit and private schools get more VAT added onto them and funding for schools in the NHS increases, that's a movement that I agree with.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea.
Of course not.
But the general move of this budget, I'm just like, I agree with that, actually.
Unless we can just magic more money.
Exactly.
It does. There has to be movement. Like I think you described it quite nicely. And it's like, well, of course, someone in that movement is not getting the benefit of it.
Sure.
Right. I understand that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. We've got to do something. Can't just keep doing what we're doing.
You've got a choice, right, of austerity or borrow more and tax more.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, no one wants austerity, so they're borrowing more and taxing more, but they also don't want that. It's like, okay, do you want public services to function remotely? Because that money has to come from either borrowing or taxing or cuts from other services.
Well, didn't Reeve say in the budget, she was like, yeah, don't really want to do this budget, and I don't hope to not repeat this.
Yeah, because they've said they are increasing their tax income by a huge amount, £40 billion. That's a huge raise in tax, right? Over half of that is coming from employers.
Yeah.
So the big move was on national insurance for employers, not people who are actually employed to work.
Yep.
That money will come somewhere though. If you're a business and you have to pay more national insurance, you're going to either up your prices or, cut some of your staff and stuff. So let's not pretend it's not going to have an impact on people. Of course it will. Of course. But I think you've got to get the money from somewhere. And if you're just going to blindly froth at the mouth and get annoyed, I just think you need to check yourself a little bit, because you're either saying I'm okay with services as they are, or I do want taxes, but not me. But not me. I'm not very well off. If you're benefiting from inheritance tax, whether you feel it or not, you are very well off. You are very well off.
Because there's a lot of people not.
Only 4 or 5% of estates that are inherited are affected by inheritance tax.
Right.
There's a threshold of over like 375. I think it's up to $500,000 or something if you get your house from your partner or from your mum or dad. That's a huge amount of money. And when you bought your house in the 1970s for £20,000 and a packet of buttons, and you're now selling it for 1.5 million, okay, don't turn around and tell me you worked hard for that money. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
You sat in a house for 50 years.
Sorry, we're speaking to the people that are inheriting it as well.
Yeah,
you didn't even buy the thing. I'm sorry, I get it, and if we've got to look after our family, I get it. Like, I'm not going to pretend like we're just soulless creatures.
Yeah.
But come on, there's got to be a line of reality somewhere.
It's not your money.
Yeah.
I don't know. I look at it very much black and white. Like, you didn't work for your house to increase 15-fold.
No.
You didn't work for that. So if we're going to tax stuff, let's tax the stuff that's not work. Let's tax capital gains. Let's tax inheritance tax. Brilliant. And try not to hit workers as much. That's a good move to me.
Yeah.
And in all of this was more money for schools. Good.
Yeah, and in NHS, right? Public services in general. No, it was okay. I did. I had a feeling of dread going into like the budget just because of the last few years. I was just thinking, oh my god, are we going to have another Liz Truss? Is she going to? Are we going to cripple the economy in 8 minutes?
Well, if it was as radical as Truss, but the other way, it would have been really disheartening and like discredited Labour immediately. But it was actually, in my opinion, quite a sensible budget. I think if you're moaning a lot about it, I just want to know what you'd have done instead. Yeah, because I just think there's not much more they could have done. I really don't think so.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being naive.
You used the term with me the other day, and I'd never heard it before. That not in my backyard.
Oh, a NIMBY.
Because NIMBY. Because I feel like there's a bit of that attitude. I think when it's like, Well, I think we do need I think we do need more money for the country.
Yeah.
But not if it remotely affects my way of living, even though I'm well off. And I don't know. I just feel like I hear that a lot from people where it's like,
well, yeah.
Wait, I'd say to them what you said. Be like, okay, what would you have done then? Genuinely.
Yeah. Well, they'll turn around and they'll say, get people who don't work ever, get rid of their benefits. Right. So they'll die. Are you insane? And do you know how much those benefits are? It's tiny compared to your £1 million estate you're getting for nothing.
Yeah.
Bit of clarity, please.
My favourite one. Stop the boats. Okay. Go on then.
Yeah, I know. Do you think we're not trying to stop the boats? I didn't even think that when Rishi said we're going to stop the boats.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I was talking to him about stopping the boats was like, you can't say that because it's really hard to do.
Yeah.
It's not that. If it was just as simple as going, we're going to stop the boats, they would be stopped already.
Just do a Trump.
There is.
Build a wall across the sea.
No, say you're going to build a wall, and don't actually do it.
And then not do it.
I just think, anyway, I listened to the budget and I thought it's pretty good. It's a step in the right direction, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Let's see how it works out. Let's see what the future budget's like. That's what someone else said. She mentioned about like freezing the tax thresholds. She was going to freeze the tax thresholds past 2028.
Right.
And what that would basically mean is as your pay goes up with inflation, you get drawn into a higher tax bracket. So you end up paying more tax.
Everyone pays a bit more tax by default.
So they were gonna freeze that for even further.
Right.
But they didn't. So that was like a positive. And it was weird that a positive was, I'm not doing a negative thing. And that's a positive now. Because everyone thought I would do a negative thing. But someone said, but also she's got like 8 more budgets to come in this parliament.
Yeah.
So the point was, okay, but she might freeze it in 2 years.
Yeah, she might have been thinking, let's spread out.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of negative stuff. Let's not do this one yet. We'll be all right for another year.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But in general, I was like, do you know what? All right.
It was all right. Yeah.
Anyway, very quickly then, it has been half term, and you can tell it's been half term because we spent a lot of time talking about the budget rather than been up in school, because we haven't been in school.
We had time to record a skit. At the start of this.
Exactly. You can tell it's half term. That skit took 2 seconds. Should we pretend to be Ofsted of the teacher and talk about absence? Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Dylan specifically said, I don't want to plan it. Let's just go. Just record it. I was like, all right, let's do it.
How's your half term been then?
Yeah, it's I've really tried to have some time for us.
Yeah.
And it's been nice.
Me and you.
I mean, literally, we have done a few things.
Yeah.
Went pumpkin picking yesterday. Pumpkin picking, honestly, it sounds so stupid.
Insane.
Doesn't it? Yeah, we went with our sickles and we were slicing off these pumpkins.
Someone made
the
the point on Instagram. We posted a picture, and my caption was, would you like to come into my incredibly muddy field and pay me to pick my vegetables and then pay for the vegetables at the end?
No,
of course I wouldn't. What if October and pumpkins?
Give me my hat. I'll be there.
Take my money. Yeah. And then someone commented underneath saying, they don't even grow there. They are placed in that field.
Literally put on the floor.
They are put on the floor for you to pay to enter, to pick up and put in a wheelbarrow and go and pay.
As soon as we got there, the first thing I saw was some like 5-year-old run up to a pumpkin and honestly just boot it, but massive hole in it. I was like, okay.
I won't be having that one.
I don't think that's picking a pumpkin, good sir. But
have you done much work then?
Oh, do you know what? Not much. I have done some work and I've got quite a lot left to do, and it is just annoying me. I'm going to be honest with you. I just hate the fact that I can't even have 1 week where I can just genuinely switch off. Like there's always. I basically made a list of 4 things with my job share. I messaged her the other day and I was like, I'm sorry to talk work, but we've got these 4 massive jobs that we need to get done between us. How do you want to do it, sort of thing? And
got to go pumpkin picking.
We've got to go pumpkin picking.
I've got to go play snooker at least once.
Got to kick a hole in a pumpkin.
What's on your list then? What is
so the 4th? I'm trying to think.
Is this what you've got to do in half term?
This is what we've got to do in half term. So we've got a bunch of writing to mark.
Sure.
That I'm going to try not to rant about that, but you know how much I hate. Right. Yeah. That's going to take like 4 or 5 hours because it's top set year 6 English class, 32 kids.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to mark their writing.
To properly mark it. Because
every few weeks we do a proper big piece of writing. It's one of them. So that's a big job. Then we've got parents even coming up.
Oh, yeah.
And we exchange comments with our teachers because we don't have. I mean, I'm sure schools do it very differently, like in all different ways. But in our particular school, we have sets for maths and English, and then we only talk to our class. So parents will come in and I don't teach them for maths or English. Sure. I can't really talk to them, so we have to exchange some notes to each other.
Sure.
I was like, okay, so we need to get some notes written up for our maths class. We've got top set maths and English, so we've got all the most kids ever. We've got to write these notes for the other teachers. Okay, let's get that done. Then I was like, okay, it's our turn we share English planning. So we've got the first 2 weeks. So we need to get the first 2 weeks done. Do you want to do a week? I'll do a week. So it's like, okay, let's get some English planning done. And then there's something else as well, which I can't
And you've
remember.
got to do that in half time because it's the first day back. I always get people say that. Have a great time off. It's like, well, I do need to teach maths and English on my first day back.
Yeah. Yeah.
zoo.
9 o'clock on Monday, I've got to teach maths.
Yeah,
So I have to have planned
It's
it
not
at
like
some point.
work where you just turn up and do your work.
Yeah.
I've got to do my work before work.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can't do my work.
Yeah, exactly. And
It's
you've got to do your
mental.
work after work
Yeah.
so that the next day you can do work
Yeah, it's
as
insane.
well. So my last one was doing assessments, end of term assessments, because do you know what? On the last day of term, it got to 5:45 and the school was closing and I hadn't done them yet. And I was like, for God's sake, I'm going to have to do this in half term
Well, you shouldn't have been doing Instagram reels, mate.
yeah, literally, you did come to my room and do one. I was just trying to catch up with marking. So anyway, I'm being boring now, but there's a big list of stuff to do. I've done some of it. And I've still got stuff to do, which is kind of just ruining the last few days of this holiday. What about you?
I've managed to avoid work. I've got stuff to do. I know what I've got to do. It's not too much, but it is something. It's still work, you know, and I can get over that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I was talking to you earlier about it. We do get 13 weeks off in the year. Okay. And I know it's an intense job, and I know we do way more. And I'm the first person. If you listen to this podcast more than 20 minutes, you know I'm the first person to defend teachers to the hilt. But I do think some semblance of work during holidays is okay because of the sheer amount of holidays we get. Like, that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, you've always said that, to be fair. You've been very consistent.
I've probably got 2 to 3 hours of work to do. I can accept that.
That's all right.
That's okay. It's fine. And I still need to do it. I've been putting it off. That's my prerogative. Could I have stayed later, probably in term time, and got it done? Maybe, but I stay late anyway. So just have to do work sometimes. But the one thing I have noticed, and as we record this, it is Halloween. And after the jingle, we're going to play a little game. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's based around the fact that we have this year, because of where Halloween lands in the middle of the half term, we have managed to avoid the behaviours that come with teaching before and especially after Halloween. Because I don't know if anyone out there has ever taught on the 1st of November. The kids are wired. They are overtired. They are smacked up with sugar. They are absolutely as high as a kite for a kid as can possibly be, and teaching is just insane.
Yeah, it really is. No, absolutely, yeah, 100%. It's so noticeable that they've had 4 hours sleep, bloodshot eyes, and they've had sugar for breakfast, and they've got tons in their bag because they've all snuck it in to give their mates. I went trick or treating last night.
Right, let's do the game now before the jingle. Then we'll finish
okay.
off. We'll do the game. So it's not even a game really. I'm going to list my top 5 days where children's behaviour are insane.
Okay, so like the Halloween example.
Yeah. So you might be thinking right now, can I think of days during the school year where I just know that my children are going to be off the scale with their behaviour?
Yeah, okay.
So I'm going to go reverse from 5 up to 1.
All right.
Okay, ready?
I'll just react.
Number 5, when there's a full moon.
What are you talking about?
When there's a full moon.
Is this a serious list or are you just making up?
This is the thing, listen.
When... No, you're not having this. Not straight away. My number 5 is when I dangle a necklace over the head of the TA. If it goes clockwise, the children's behaviour is going to be mad that day. Come on, what are you talking about? A full moon?
Listen.
We're not wolves. Halloween. When it's Halloween and a full moon, the kids turn into werewolves and they eat all of the paper.
No, let me talk. Okay, number 1, I'm completely on your side, right? For years and years in my profession, when someone said it's a full moon, I'd scoff at them. I'd say, shut up.
Howling.
Yeah, it's a full moon. The kids aren't going to misbehave. But I have witnessed it year after year. The kids have been insane, their behaviour. I was like, what is going on? And then someone says, super moon tonight.
I can't even pretend to be.
Let us know, guys. If you're listening to this right now, let me know. Yes or no. Is this a thing? Full moon. Horrendous.
I have nothing to say. I just want to know what these guys think.
Especially when your teacher's Professor Lupin from Harry Potter. Oh, full moon.
Oh, my
it's
days.
awful.
That
Right,
is funny.
I'm moving on. Number 4.
Half moon. Not quite as bad.
Waxing gibbous moon. It's not great.
Oh, God.
Number 4. The day before the Christmas holidays. The last day of term 2.
That's real.
Where it's the very last day before.
That was real.
The kids are just thinking about Christmas. You're probably off your off timetable. You're not doing what you used to be doing. That's my number 4. Number 3 is the morning after Halloween. We've already spoken about that.
Yeah, fair
Kids
enough.
are just riled up. They've
Just
not
sugared up to the high
sugared
heavens.
up. They've not slept.
Yeah.
They're not ready for learning. Number 2. Whenever it's been wet play and the children are stuck inside.
Yeah. And it compounds.
Oh.
If it's break and lunch, and then the next day as well, you got 2 days in a row.
God.
It is the absolute worst.
I tell you what,
isn't it?
and do you know what? It might be number 1, right? I'm not going to change it, but this situation might actually be number 1,
Go on.
where it has been wet play at break time and lunchtime, and in the afternoon you got to try and teach 2 lessons.
Oh, yeah.
Impossible.
What a horrible combo.
Impossible.
Yeah, wet play really does suck.
Yeah.
It really, really sucks.
Yeah. Do you know what sums it up, right? If someone says to you as an adult, right, you've got a break now, I'm so excited, I'll sit down. I can't wait, I'll relax. If you say to a kid you've got a break, they sprint to nowhere. They just go out the door and they're sprinting in a direction. They need that.
Is it the opposite then? If I said to you, you've got a break, and you're like, yeah, I've got a break, and I said, you've got to go and run around. Got to go run around in the outside.
Yeah,
You've got to go sprint. You'd be like, no.
English is my break. I'm going inside. I've got break time for an hour and a half.
But they need it. It's true. They just need to let off some steam.
Yeah,
like when kids want to stay in, I quite often say to them, even though I probably don't mind if they go and sit and read, I'm like, please just go and run around for like 3 minutes. Honestly, just go and run to the end of the playground and back. Genuinely, just go and do something.
Or even just go and sit on a bench outside and read.
Yeah.
Get some fresh air.
Get away from me.
Honestly, it's a thing. And also, I don't want to be in here. So
I need a break too. I've told you to have healthy snacks and I've got 3 cream eggs in my bag. I can't eat them if you're here, can I?
I don't think that's a healthy snack, is it? Chomping on Doritos. I don't think that's a healthy snack, kids.
Oh, so
Just a
bad.
snack drawer there full of a caramel bar, a share bar that you've eaten all morning.
Just for God's sake. Literally, I can't even argue it.
Right, number 1.
Yep, go on.
The worst indicator for behaviour. Windy day.
Do you know what?
Windy day. You're going to laugh at that one,
I
mate?
wanted to be like another full moon. But I have also witnessed this many, 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 many times.
Hayden,
what is it about
why?
wind?
Yes, why?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I still don't.
What insight we give on this podcast?
Yeah,
I don't know. If anyone can tell me why.
It's a strange phenomenon.
If it's windy, they don't even need to be outside. They can just hear the wind. And go,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Maybe
oh,
it reminds
windy."
them of a full moon. It's like howling, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe it's a compounded effect.
I don't know either.
But yeah, I agree.
goes
Windy
into their
days
soul.
is the absolute worst.
Why?
Kids are just like off the rails when it's windy.
It's insane. That's my number 1.
Yeah.
If it's a windy day, honestly, if I leave my house to get to my car in the morning and I'm remotely windswept, I'm like, oh God's sake.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay. I know it's up to today.
It's really annoying. Without hair, you don't know. I can never tell when it's windy.
Yeah,
it's the only indicator. It's when your hair's windswept.
Yeah.
I'll have to look at other people.
Yeah,
Go,
definitely.
bloody
You know,
hell, it's
like
windy.
isn't it like a bat? You know, a bat's blind. It just like its little like hairs. it like gets sonar. Is that how you hear as well?
I have got sonar.
Just
yeah.
the prickles on top of your head.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if they remotely get brushed, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
northeasterly wind.
It is a bit like that, depending
Yeah.
on which part of my body.
Sure.
Obviously, I've got hairs everywhere.
Yeah,
You know, being
yeah,
such an extremely hairy man, unlike you. Like, you know, that's how I tell. But yeah, windy days, man. It's a weird, very, very strange phenomenon. I remember when someone first told me about that, and I honestly laughed in their face, like I did with you with the full moon. I genuinely was like, oh, that's a really good joke. And then I saw it again and again and again and again. I was like, okay. So any child psychologist, obviously lots of you listen, child psychologists. If you know,
Dentists, get a lot of dentists.
Get a lot of dentists, Rishi, and child psychologists. If you're a child psychologist and you know why wind makes children behave like buffoons,
Keep it to yourself.
keep it to yourself. Don't write in. Don't write in to Teach Sleep Repeat on any of the social media platforms that we
You
have.
don't know though. Don't pretend
Which
you know
are Instagram.
Go on Instagram at Teach Sleep Repeat Podcast. Follow us. That's where the good stuff happens. Send us a message. We're getting lots of messages lately. Appreciate them.
And the others.
Let's play the jingle. Let's get actually. What is this episode about? Let's just get into that.
Let's
shall
have a
we?
jingle and find out, shall we?
Christmas term is one of my favourite terms as a teacher. I love it. Do you?
No. You know. Yes, I do. Of course, I love the Christmas
What makes
term.
it good? Because we're going to talk about how to survive Christmas term.
Yeah.
Because it is a slog. Very, very often, terms 1 and 2. Bit of clarification. Some people still call the first, what we call 2 terms, 1 term.
Yep.
So we're talking about the term from September to the end of October is term 1. And then you return at the end of October or the start of November until Christmas is term 2.
Yeah.
So we're talking specifically about that term 2.
Yeah.
And it can be quite tough because you just had an extremely long term 1. This year longer than ever. Most people only get a week off. Some get 2. Might be more recharged than others. But this does feel like a slog. But there's certain things I feel in term 2 that really get you through to Christmas because it's such a nice term. So what is it about this Christmas term that makes it such a good term?
It's a busy term, I'll tell you that, which is why we're going to talk about surviving it soon. But yeah, you're right. There's loads of unique parts of the Christmas term that are great. First one comes to mind, the Christmas party.
Oh.
What school doesn't have a Christmas party?
Do you remember your Christmas party?
Do you know what? I do.
Yeah.
And
You don't remember
considering my memory is absolutely dire.
Genuinely.
I do remember being sat in my school hall on a big long table. They got all the dinner, classic dinner tables. Every school has the same ones, all lined up in this big long one with lovely like stuff on. Just loads of
So
things
lovely.
on-
Just call it
Yeah,
stuff.
what's it called? The stuff on the table. All the
Yeah.
stuff on the table is nice.
You talk about decorations.
Decorations.
Okay,
What's
cool.
the I can't think of words. What's the thing that drapes over?
Do you know what's fantastic?
A tablecloth.
Yeah. Wow. Do you know what is great for podcast hosts when they can't think of words?
Yeah, don't know words.
It's probably the only prerequisite for
Yeah,
being a podcast host.
the only thing better than that is when you say your words consistently wrong all the time.
Well,
You make up words.
At least I get words out. Don't say,
Yeah, but no.
I can't think of the word for a cloth on the table.
Sorry.
I think it's a cloth table.
You're lucky my memory doesn't work. Otherwise, I'd remember that one that you couldn't remember that time.
That is, bro, memory inception. Well, I wish I could remember that time you forgot that thing and you didn't remember.
I remember that you did forget, but I don't know what it was.
Anyway, do you remember anything else to do with Term 2? Christmas parties?
As in more things or my Christmas party?
Yeah,
we
what's
talked
great?
about?
Anything. Go on.
Let me look at my little list. Days out.
What do you
Days
mean?
out. You go to the church, didn't you? Go
Yeah,
sing
I know.
some songs.
See, I'm not very religious. In fact, I'm not remotely religious.
Yeah.
But I do really enjoy going to the church with the children and them singing their hymns. It's just a nice atmosphere.
I was going to say, break it down. Why do you enjoy it then? We don't go to the church, do we, to sit there in silence and like, pray or something?
No.
We go and have a laugh.
Yeah. Have a laugh.
We do. The kids enjoy it. We do have a laugh though.
Hey up, God. Well, he's a character, isn't he?
Do you know who this lad is? He's Jesus. That's what you're here for. I don't know why I'm got an accent.
Why you got
I don't know. He's Jesus. Everyone come on. Let's sing a song for
Why
him.
is Jesus from Merseyside?
Let's sing a song for him. Come on. Come on. Go on, oi, teachers, we're going to embarrass you. Stand up.
Oh, God. But yeah, I like it. There's a carol service often goes on. Sometimes it's in churches as well.
Yeah.
There's something about kids singing Christmas hymns and songs. It doesn't matter that's religious. It's just bloody nice.
Yeah, it's
I love
fun.
hearing it. I
It's
really
good
like
fun.
it. Love a good choir.
Anything else?
I think what comes to mind for me, which is enjoyable, is those chances where you can just get rid of the curriculum and just make something. Just classic, getting some card, getting some glitter, getting some, well, maybe not glitter these days. Gets everywhere. It's not good for the environment.
I agree.
But definitely still get glitter out because that is what happened. So lots of stuff. You're making decorations. The big one, again, I think people listening who maybe aren't in a school might be shocked to hear that we still put the hoops up.
Yeah.
It's a classic thing. Think about a big hula hoop. We hang it up in the hall, one per class, and we dangle decorations coming off them. And that's like an afternoon that we spend just literally doing that.
Do you reckon that is standard across schools, or are we just saying something that only 1% of people are getting? Because we happen to have worked in a couple of schools that do that.
Definitely standard in our area.
Yeah.
Now, whether there's like a divide.
Did you
in
do
the
it as a
country-
kid?
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah.
I seem to remember doing it. It seems to be a thing.
I think we did something similar. I don't think we had a hoop, but we
Maybe
did
not
something
hoops, but
similar.
you hang something in the hall.
Yeah, you make
per
something.
class. You
Yeah,
make something, and it gets hung up. Christmas fair.
Yeah.
Again, busy. Like a bit of a nightmare to organise sometimes, but
Yeah.
it's nice to get all the parents, all the families, all the teachers in.
Have you ever had I love those years where you actually try and take the Christmas fair really seriously. Like we've done ones before where I'm like, come on, kids. Like that kids will put on a stall. Like that kind of Christmas fair, not just one where like adults are running it. And we'll be like, right, I want to get a nice range of stalls. And really what all that ever happens is it turns into, can we have 7 chocolate fountains and a bunch of marshmallows? Can we just have things, really sugary things we can eat? And every stall is just kids running around buying marshmallows, buying chocolate. It's like, okay, this didn't work. You got that one kid who's been serious and like, I've spent 7 hours at home making these beautiful decorations for your tree, and everyone's just running past because they want the chocolate. So Christmas fairs can be quite fun. Turns into a Halloween sugar.
Yeah.
madness.
But you know what? It's always good when you do it a bit early and you say, once your parents here, you can go home. See
Yes,
ya.
I love that.
Off you go.
And then you get that one kid that says, if my parent comes and we go straight away, is that okay?
Do you know? Yes, it is.
Yeah, baby.
See you later.
Do you know one of my favourite things? I love putting music on in class. I used to do it a lot more as a teacher in general. Like I put a bit of music on, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just a Scrooge now. Well, normally I just put on any old music.
What pop music, classical music?
Yeah, just a bit of pop music
Whilst they're doing work.
Not, yeah, to be honest with you, earlier on in my career, I realised that it wasn't very good, which is why I don't do it anymore, because they just get distracted.
Yeah.
But I just love putting music on, whereas Christmas, it's definitely a good excuse to be
Nothing better than trying to do an ancient Egyptian lesson. I've got Dua Lipa in my ear. That's real.
Yeah.
Oh, who's that pharaoh? Who's that pharaoh? Oh, Bruno Mars. Oh, gosh, no.
Yeah,
great
exactly
teaching.
why I was not
Well
doing
done.
it. But when Christmas times, it's like, okay, we're making things, we're making our decorations. Let's put on Mariah Carey on repeat. I get a 10-hour loop of her.
But her song "Obsessed" about Eminem, not a Christmas song.
Yeah.
Why
That
are
one.
you so obsessed with me? Sir, can we listen to a Christmas song? No! I'm listening to the beef between Mariah Carey and Eminem, and we're going to listen to it back to back.
And then we listen to Eminem songs as well.
No.
They're not safe for work. Yeah. So music, I just love getting a bit of music on. Christmas spirit, you know, it's nice.
It is nice, and especially when you double it up with making cards and stuff. You know, you don't need to concentrate, just making a reindeer or something. It's perfect.
It is.
Making cards, that's another thing.
Yeah.
Like literally making cards. I think that goes in with like decorations in general. Just, I think the theme is, it sounds awful, but more laid back stuff.
Yeah.
More fun stuff, more laid
Yeah.
back. The kids are just enjoying themselves. They're
Yeah.
getting excited.
Oh.
And you don't have to mark the cards at the end.
Yeah, I agree. That is good.
As a percentage,
Yeah.
what would you say is a standard amount of your class that when they write their card, do it the wrong way around and it opens the wrong way
Oh,
around?
that is such a thing, isn't it?
What percentage?
Such a
Because
thing.
I think it's like 40%.
Oh no! Up in year 6, it's at least it's down to 39%.
Oh, what?
38.
Oh, great.
Yeah, no,
One
probably like
thing.
10%. But when I worked in year 4,
Yeah.
I agree.
It was almost like, it was genuinely like they hadn't, no one had thought about it, right?
So
and
funny.
it was just a 50-50 chance. It was like, well, whatever. What?
Yeah.
Honestly.
I don't get how they do it. I don't get it.
It's like, here you go, sir. I've got a card for you. I try and open it. It's like, it's the other way.
Yeah. Oh, that is funny. Or when it's like make a card for your parents and they make a card for you instead. And I'm like, oh mate, you have burned your parents hard here. You have one card to make.
People who raise me and give me all the money and all the food.
Or the person who looks after my attendance at school. I'm going to give it to you, teacher. Well done, Ofsted.
Yeah, do you know what? If I'm going to be judged for my attendance, give me the bloody Christmas card.
Yeah.
I want a Christmas
I
card.
got you here. Anyway.
And it can be kind of summarized with, I guess, why term 2 is amazing for me. And it always comes down to this. The kids are excited.
Exactly.
The kids are happy.
Yeah.
If you walk through a school towards the end of term 2 especially, it is genuinely like a magical place because there's decorations everywhere. The kids are smiling. There's stuff going on. You might be going to the church. Someone's doing some decorations. You can hear some Christmas music in the back. Santa's walked through. Just randomly got Santa in the building randomly. So, all right, mate.
It's just the deputy head or something.
Yeah, literally.
No one knows.
Yeah, literally. But I don't know. I just love it. But
Yeah, me too.
I think being realistic and the main bulk of this episode then is it because of how busy it is, you can kind of get carried away with all of that and get rushed up on a high. And then when it comes to the end of term 2, boom, you are burnt out.
Yeah,
it
big
is
time.
intense. And I think there's things we can do to smash term 2. Yeah, to help with burnout and stuff, obviously. But just in general, we've put together some tips to make term 2 really successful. I'd like to start with my number 1 tip, if
Go on
that's
then.
okay.
How do I survive term 2, Dylan?
How do you survive term 2? Well, the first thing I want you to do, get those hints about what gifts you want from the children in really early. If you're doing guided writing and you have to think of something, and then the teacher received some delicious Maltesers and a lovely can of Stella Artois. Isn't that... I'd feel so lucky as a teacher if I received Maltesers and a can of Stella Artois. That would be bloody lovely, wouldn't it, kids? Anyway, carry on.
This whole list of just like selfish list. What else can we do to ensure that we get given things?
Do you know what else the teacher loves? All-inclusive holiday to Maldives. Isn't that lovely, kids? I would love that if I received that as a gift. And maybe even a collective gift.
Yeah, we
A
love
collective
that.
gift where all the parents put the money in together and get me something nice and big.
You walk back to your desk and go, oh, sorry, I've tripped over. Sorry, children. Here are all of my mugs that I got last year. Here are all of the mugs I got last year. I forgot that I brought them all in. Just because
I don't use them.
horribly selfish. We sound so awful right now.
Listen, if you can't joke,
Yeah, I know.
the amount of hate people get
Yeah.
for doing bits, it's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke, okay? I don't want to go to the Maldives. I
do.
just want
I
to
do,
go to
actually.
go to Madrid.
Yeah.
Fine.
And I do want some Maltesers. I do love Maltesers.
No, but it is a joke. But what is genuinely coming out of this, which is actually funny in term 2, the amount of times that I have just said stuff and they've picked up on it immediately.
Oh, that's nice though.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
well, I'd say this a million times. One time, I think I actually wore these last year when it was Christmas. I just told the kids this story about me that to do with a gherkin. Okay, it was a gherkin. I need to be a bit more clarification maybe with that. It's a gherkin from
No, don't.
It's a gherkin from a McDonald's cheeseburger that I
Yeah.
didn't want. Someone put it on my helmet when I was playing cricket. I went out and played cricket with a gherkin on my helmet.
Right,
From then on, I was called Gherkin.
You were
I
Gherkin.
told them this story, and then at Christmas time, I got a jar of gherkins. A jar of pickled gherkins wrapped up. I got some socks with a gherkin dancing on it. And my point is, kids pick up on stuff.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
So I'm obviously joking when I say get your hints in now as to what you want. But if you did mention Maltesers,
Yeah.
you will get Maltesers
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the kids.
literally, yeah.
Because they come up to you sometimes and ask, just asking, sir, what chocolate do you like? Not for any reason, just wondering what chocolate you like. And what do you drink alcohol?
Yeah.
Why?
My mum wants to know what alcohol you drink.
Yeah.
Why does your mum want to know?
I don't know. But don't worry about it.
Surprise.
And then you say to them, oh, actually, I quite like a little bit of gin. It comes to the end and you get some red wine.
yeah.
Oh, I think I said gin.
Honestly, it's so funny. I think 3 years in a row now, I've received a very particular gift. What do you think it is?
Is it a hairbrush?
It's a
Shampoo?
Close. No, close.
Okay.
A wig.
Something to do with your hair.
A wig. A wig. I'm not joking. I've done 3 years in a row. A kid's got me a wig, and they found it absolutely hilarious. Obviously, I've worn it for like an hour.
Of course. I remember actually you wore that wig to dropping your kids off to assembly.
I ruined that. I felt so bad.
Yeah, honestly, stood at the front of the teacher. We're in assembly.
He's trying to keep
no
the behaviour.
talking in assembly, and then this clown walks in
With a wig on.
with a red wig on.
I just looked at him and he sort of smirked to me, and I just sort of thought, I'm ruining the behaviour.
Like flicking your hair side to side.
There's 400 kids in here.
Like you're in a
luck.
L'Oreal advert.
Yeah, and literally, I was like, oh, felt great. Oh, that was good fun. But yes,
okay.
term.
That was a joke.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a joke.
Biggest one. That's all you need, isn't it?
Yeah.
Reduce all the tips to that one. Just tell the kids what gifts you want and make sure you get
because that's why we're in teaching, isn't it? The gifts and the money. Clearly.
Christmas gifts. Yeah. Anyway,
Do you want to do an actual helpful one?
Okay, right. We talked about the hoops, didn't we?
Yeah.
All right, okay. And whether you've got a hoop or not, you'll probably do some sort of class decoration.
Sure.
Pick a good one. Pick a simple one.
Yeah, what do you mean by
honestly.
good? Simple.
But by good, I mean easy for you to plan, resource, and make, and get up onto your hoop, whatever it is. Don't be the teacher that's like super adventurous. Like, I'm going to do this thing here. That's going to ends up taking you loads of time.
Yeah.
You have to take them all home
Yeah.
because I've got to sew this part together, and the kids can't do that, so I've got to do it 32 times.
I'm going to make a donkey. I'm
Don't
going to make a
mention the
donkey. That's simple, isn't it, Aidan?
The donkey, honestly, that was the worst thing I ever did. It was
Go on,
so
tell the
bad.
donkey story.
So
What?
1 year, look. All right, in our school we sign up to what decoration we want to do, and if you're the last person to sign up, most things have been like done.
Yeah, because you don't want double, do you, in the hall?
Exactly, you want different things.
I try and get snowman really quick. Do you
Yeah,
know why?
classic.
Because I can just cut out a snowman picture and then just decorate them. And that's
You get those
it.
people that do those lovely 3D ones.
No,
balls that like open up.
No,
So
2D.
you just a bit of paper.
I did it 1 year, right? they all did a snowman, right? They all did a snowman. Honestly, looked horrendous, like compared to the effort other people put in. But it was nice. It was the kids had clearly done it, so it was lovely. I forgot they're hanging in a hall, therefore obviously need to be 360 degrees because the back of the snowman was just plain white card with nothing on it. So I had to double up their snowmen, which didn't line up because they're all different sizes. So I had to put them back to back, stick them together, and then hang them, which meant they had half as many snowmen. So when you went into the hall, there was like 32 gifts, 32 stars, 32 shepherds, and there was honestly like 12 snowmen because they were all that slim.
Weren't they all? Was that the year that they were really heavy?
Yeah,
Because of the two. And so your line also just drooped down because they were all kind of condensed into the middle. I remember that. I remember thinking, well, who's done that?
Nearly hits the
Then
kids at the
Then I walked in with my donkeys.
Right, sorry, what was this? Right, go on.
So 1 year.
Why did you pick donkeys?
Because honestly, there was nothing left.
Why is
I was
donkeys
like
on the
last
list?
one. Oh, donkeys! Come on, think about it.
Snowflake, a snowman, a donkey.
Yeah, little baby Jesus. That was already gone.
How
That was
do you
already
make
done.
a donkey?
Little donkey. So I really couldn't be bothered, and it was like that day you had to get in the order for like the craft stuff you wanted for it, and I was like, oh no, on YouTube looking for how to make craft donkeys. Obviously, it doesn't exist. Who's making craft donkeys? Seriously, doesn't exist. So I was like, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll get a bit of grey card. Cut it into like a trapezium and then stick two lolly sticks. Stick two lolly sticks on it.
Invent your own donkey.
And then they can draw a donkey on it. And they just did it. It took them like 45 seconds to make these donkeys. And they were so bad.
And then they've got to go in the hall. And it's when it's next to like the person who goes all out and everything. And it's your donkeys.
Next to it is like stained glass windows. And they look at the other classes and they're spending like the whole afternoon making these
a
really
lovely
lovely
stocking.
things. Yeah, got these beautiful instructions on the board, like with these great things, really proud of them. And then Michael is coming with their donkeys. Had to make them all like, make the noise as they come in, like hanging it onto the. Oh god, it was
horrendous.
embarrassing.
Every single year,
I got ridiculed.
mine and your line are always the worst.
Yeah, you can tell.
Always the worst.
You can tell. And I'm year 6. That's the bad. Year 3's come in with something better.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, here's the year 6 donkeys. This year, Dylan, we've got to do it. We've got to do something good, haven't we? We've got to ignore our own advice and try something
I'm doing donkeys.
good. You're doing, I'm doing
And I want you to tell me, you should put it on Tez. When you download stuff, you should put on your step-by-step guide on how to make a donkey on Tez. You should do it, honestly.
Love that.
Right, so next one, I'm going to give another actual serious hint.
Yeah,
now.
go on.
Don't be scared in time 2, up until Christmas, to reserve some time simply for fun. Don't be worried that every single minute needs to be dedicated to learning. They're not making progress on these things that I've got to get, and they've got to highlight their progress they're making. Don't worry about it. It's okay to have chunks of time in term 2, especially towards the end, that are just dedicated to doing something for the sake of doing it, because it is fun to do. Don't be obsessed with learning. This is the stuff the kids will remember. They will love being in your class that day. This comes with a caveat, because on the other side of this coin, of this same hint, is you should still do learning up until the end of term. I really do believe that. I don't just for the sake of it get rid of a lesson.
Yeah, the whole week last week. It's like, oh, we're going to do any learning this week.
No.
Don't do that.
I would actually I do maths and English until the end.
Yeah.
I think having that system in the morning, that routine is still good for them. They still need to cover the curriculum. So don't be scared to reserve time for fun. Don't be scared to carry on learning all the way through. But just know that you are a professional and you can make those judgment calls, and you will probably benefit hugely from continuing doing learning until the end of the year. But also the kids knowing that, do you know what, this afternoon it is just fun. Enjoy yourself.
No, I agree. I'm actually going to jump in with another point that's very relevant. Skipping down our list here, Dylan, but staying on top of your diary dates. But with that in mind, you do kind of need to plan ahead. You need to know what's coming up. You need to know when you can book in those fun events, like like we're saying. Don't just be like, you get to the last week and you're like, oh no, I've got 19 things to do. Let's do them all. It gets manic. Stay on top of your diary dates in term 2, because there's just always something where you're like, you've spent the weekend planning maths, right? And then you find out that 2 of your lessons that week are being taken up because you do it. I mean, can you think of it like Santa's Grotto?
Yeah, got Santa's Grotto on Tuesday, and on Wednesday we're doing Chris Tingle. So get your oranges in. We're putting a candle in an orange with some licorice all sorts on the side, because that's Christmas thing apparently. Mental.
Yeah. And the next day you got a long assembly, so your maths lesson's half, and you're like, oh god, I just spent ages planning all this stuff. I just didn't look ahead. So just staying
and
on
it's
top.
your fault at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Of course it is.
What are you like? Because I'm awful at that.
Yeah, I'm so bad.
I'm really bad.
This is that kind of thing where I'm like, I hope no one listens from our school, because they're like, Hayden, you've not picked up a diary in 3 years.
No, because what we can do is we can say what's good practice.
Yeah.
But you don't do it.
I'm not here saying I'm doing these things, right?
Oh god, but it's true.
I'll make the donkey, but I'm not.
Every single point so far, you've done the opposite. Actually, it's weird, very weird. Do you have a good term 2 normally? Or?
No, terrible, absolutely dreadful. This is for me.
But it is true. That is a good another point. Staying on top of your class diary. In general, staying on top of your diary is important, but especially this term, because there's just so much going on. Like you said, it's a busy term, and there's nothing worse. I've done this before, where you have sacrificed 2 hours of your Sunday to do this really nice lesson, and then you don't even get time to do it. Because it's literally not happening. And it's like you're sat there doing whatever you're doing. I don't know, taking the kids one at a time in to see Santa and pick a toy. Like, oh god.
Or double down on that, right? What you are actually doing in that activity, something you forgot about, and it required some other planning. It's like, oh, did you get in the order for the paper that you need for this? It's like, no, I didn't even get the cards in. I didn't even get the card in. We can't make Christmas cards now in this session.
Oh, I do have a Roman numerals lesson. Is that all right? I did plan that.
Yeah.
Next hint.
Hint. Next
hint. Oh,
next
hint.
hint.
You gotta get it after this.
Top 5 hints.
Next tip. Still get outside. Okay. Still get outside. And what I mean by this is, it's in the summer, very tempting, and in fact, lots of people do this where they go, outside learning today because the sun's out. It's a lovely day. Let's go outside and just do what I was going to do anyway, outside, because it's good for the kids. Don't be afraid to still do that in term 2.
Yeah.
Get outside still. I know it might be a bit cold. Put coats on. Okay, kids still love it. They love getting outside. They love the fresh air, and it's important for the children because they get into school in the morning and it is dark now, and then leave school and it is getting dark. When they leave at 3:15, perhaps it's not quite as dark, but by the time they get home, have their dinner, that's the end of their day. And for some children, they don't get outside enough. They'll have lunch. They'll have break time. We talked about the importance of getting them out for that. But when it comes to their learning as well, just get outside. Don't be afraid to do it.
Well, there's something magical. I remember this as a kid, right? I don't know what it is. It's very simple to us now, maybe because you get older, like things don't excite you as much. But there's something magical about a really frosty day. And your teacher takes you out, you're going on a nature walk, and everything's like sparkly and frosty, like the floor's a bit slippery. Oh, be careful. I don't know what it is. I remember as a kid being like, this is great. This is better than normal for some reason.
And then
going out.
I remember doing that and drawing. I remember drawing and sketching.
Really?
I don't know if I was meant to. I don't know if it was like an English lesson or not. But I've got a vivid memory of we had these berry bushes across the back of our playground. And like a cobbled fence underneath of stone. And I remember, because we walked past and we always used to joke that them berries are poisonous. You can't possibly touch them. But we were walking past and I had a pad.
Loads of silica packets on it. Sorry, carry on.
Silica gel that I love to eat. And I just remember sat there looking and sketching the berry and the leaves, and there was frost on it. And it's insane that I remember that.
Yeah.
But if that day we hadn't chosen to go outside and do that, I just wouldn't have that memory.
Yeah, of course not.
And I always think about stuff like that. I'm just, Why did that stick in my head? Because it was different.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it's fun, it's enjoyable. Don't be afraid to go outside still.
And then you've got the ultimate one. If you're lucky enough that it actually snows, like proper snow. The kid, like, I hope I'm never that teacher that's like, stop looking outside when it's snowing. I hope I'm always a teacher that says, oh, come on, let's go out. It's snowing. Let's spend it doesn't snow that often. Let's go and like stand in it for a minute. And if it really snows,
I've got to get through my Roman numerals. It's the Roman numerals for some reason.
Yeah.
You must know what L means in Roman numerals. We can't possibly go and play in the snow for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Of course you can.
I've had some of the best times ever, honestly, taking kids out, and it's just snow. It's like, or in the morning, it snowed all night, and it's actually proper thick. It's like, okay, of course. What do you? I want to do it. Of course, we're gonna go out in the snow and make snow angels and chuck a couple of snowballs at each other. And the rules are simple. If someone ends up chucking it at someone's face really hard and we all cry about it, we go back in.
We'll do it again.
Be careful. Yeah, it's snow. Get over it. But yeah, you just got to take them out, have some fun. So basically, like you said, just summarize.
Take your class out.
Get outside, especially if it's snowing.
Well, your next tip is linked to getting outside.
Well, it's exactly the same thing, really. It's just for us as well, our own mental health. Like you were kind of alluding at, it's dark, isn't it?
Yeah.
The days
Well,
are short.
teachers get in earlier and leave later.
For teachers, at lunchtime, just get outside. I know you want to get your marking done. I know you just want to sit there and honestly just get 10 minutes. Go and get some fresh air, some crisp air, get some sunlight. It will make a difference to your mood. I really try and live by that. I do really try to get outside in those winter months because I get so immediately sad. Once I've got the SAD, seasonal depression, because it's dark. You leave when it's dark. You get home, it's dark. It's horrible. So get outside for yourself as well. Get some sunlight at lunchtime, even if it's just 10 minutes.
I think with that tip, people can listen to it and be like, oh, all right. I've got to do my work, though.
Yeah.
All I would say on that tip is genuinely just do it for a bit and see. Because I think you'll notice the difference. It's like when people take the mick out of meditation and stuff. It used to be me. I used to be like, breathing. Yeah. Get over it. Yeah. Do you know what? I did it for a bit. It's really good. Yeah, of course it helps. That's why loads of people do it. Why do you get out in the sunlight? Because it does help your health. It does help your mental health. So just, even if you're skeptical at that point, I would say just try it for a week and just see.
Unless it's a full moon. Then do not go outside because you don't know what's waiting for you.
Is it windy?
There's a windy full moon.
If it's raining and it's Halloween yesterday and it's Christmas tomorrow.
Oh, I hate when that happens. Oh dear.
And it's Friday the 13th.
Do another tip. Do another hint.
This one's like a bit more serious. I suppose this is such a weird up and down seriousness and not so serious hints and tips and stuff. This one's like, I suppose more on the serious side, is over the years, I've kind of become more aware that not all kids have an amazing Christmas. And if you think about it, in your class, there will always be children who do not have the best home life. There'll be children probably who you teach, probably, if not indefinitely in your school, who are not looking forward to Christmas because it means 2 weeks at home. Yeah. And school is their safe place. So all I want to make with this point is just don't forget that. Some kids don't even celebrate Christmas. Okay, but even if they do, it's not a nice time for them because their environment that they're in at home is not jolly. It's not good for them.
So what are you saying? How do we combat that? How are we fair as teachers in terms of like?
I think if a child is talking to you about what they're really excited to do over Christmas because they've got plans, you should never make that child feel bad for that. So don't listen to this.
Engage with it, right?
Shush, no, you can't mention anything that you do because someone might be offended somewhere. Let them have their moment, enjoy it, and talk about it. What I'm saying is be aware of those other children and make school as fun and engaging, as lovely and as nice as possible for them whilst they're in school. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, like we've joked about with absence and stuff, we don't have control of their home life. We can report stuff, we can look out for them, their safeguarding is paramount, etc. But we only can do a certain amount of stuff as a teacher. And I think a big thing is that control in school, make it safe, make it enjoyable, make it fun, give them everything they could possibly want to have a really nice time in school. Yeah. And don't go on and on about what you're going to do at home. Like as the teacher who's in charge of the conversation, let children lead it sometimes and they'll go, I'm going to see my uncle in Christmas. I've not seen him in 3 years. I'm so excited. Brilliant. Big them up. That sounds lovely. But as the driver of conversation, don't do a big write about what you're excited to do for Christmas. Yeah. Don't drive
what
that
present are you
conversation.
hoping to get?
Yeah,
what
exactly.
It's classic, isn't it? Because people do it with good intentions. I probably did it in my first year,
I've
honestly.
certainly done it.
I've been like, what's everyone hoping to get?
Thinking now. Yeah. I probably would, honestly, without thinking. But you need to have it in front of your mind.
Yeah, it's because I'm a better teacher than you. But, but it's true. I'm joking, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, I think you do have to be careful of what you say. I agree. Those leading questions, you know what? Just imagine that someone's not having a great Christmas.
Yeah.
Just make it all about their time with you in school. Not so much emphasis on the outside of school time, because you know what? You don't know what's going on. You can't control that, but you can control what's going on in school. Yeah. Very good tip. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, another one, kind of serious then, I guess. Behavior. We talked about behavior quite a lot, ironically, in this episode. But just expect and understand, be ready for behavior to slip a little bit towards the end of the Christmas term.
What? So expect it to happen.
Expect it to happen. I'm not saying let it happen.
Sure.
I'm saying expect the behavior. Prepare for it.
Sure.
That's probably a better word. Prepare for behavior to be maybe a bit trickier towards the end of the term. Like we said, it was in your top 5 list of when behavior goes a bit wild. It's true. It's exciting. The Christmas time's exciting. The routine starts to change. You know, if you're aware of the diary dates, you're looking at the things. You know, there's lots of other things out of routine coming up. Some kids really struggle with that. Some kids take advantage of that. You know, some kids are just fine. But just expect the behavior to be a bit different. Prepare for it in your mind. Maybe have some strategies up your sleeve ready. But just be aware that it's probably going to happen, so you're not caught off guard, I think is the point here.
I think the big thing, thinking about end of term 2, is the expectations. We always talk about having really clear expectations for behavior and lines that cannot be crossed. Those lines inevitably move when you start doing more fun activities, right? So, you know, if you're playing Mariah Carey through the speakers and the kids are making Christmas cards and they're singing at the top of their lungs, right?
Yeah.
That is clearly a very different expectation as to what you would expect during a maths lesson at any other time in the year.
Exactly.
So the children, there are some children who will struggle with that shift in expectation. And because they'll see that that's been lifted and they can do more, a lot of them will treat that as if they can do anything.
Yep.
So I think what I would say to people is absolutely what you've said. Plan ahead, know what's going to happen. Expect children to struggle with it, but then combat it yourself by being super clear.
Yeah.
So be really clear. Yeah, clearer than ever. Where you say, "Listen, guys, I want to play this music today. I am so excited, and you're excited too. I can see that, and we're probably going to be singing out loud, and that's absolutely fine. But there will be points when I need to show you the next thing we've got to do on our decorations, or there will be times where we've got to use the scissors, and you're still next to someone who's actually feeling a bit anxious or maybe overwhelmed by loud noises. So I might ask you sometimes just to lower the tone. And when I ask you to do that, you've got to do it straight away, because that's the deal we've got here.
Yeah.
A lot of children, 98% of children, that'll be fine with, that'll cover it. You've done your job. There'll still be that 2% who struggle with it.
Yep.
And that's where your professional judgment has to come in, and you either, you know, allow them certain things because of maybe they've got special needs or EHCP, or simply because they need to calm down a little bit. And you, at the end of the day, you need to own it as the teacher when you change those expectations. I have lifted this lid. So when children act outside of that, what they're used to doing, that is my fault.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't blame an 8-year-old for doing that.
Yeah, you got to take the consequence. You got to take responsibility for it. Yeah,
Sure.
I agree. I think that's a really nice point about. Yeah, you can expect them to be a bit more wild. So combat it by having really, really super clear expectations that are in these new boundaries. I think that's a nice point. And also, you know, and stick to it. Yeah, we said that in a previous episode. If you said, and this is the consequence if you don't do it and you can't meet these new standards and they don't do it, you've got to stick to the consequences. Otherwise, then you really will see your behavior slip, because they're thinking, oh, we can be wild and we can get away with it.
Yeah. So there are tips for term 2. I think if we were to summarize it, what I'd want to say to someone in a sentence or two, if I came up to them, especially if they were thinking, gosh, how am I going to get through this term? I would say to them, enjoy it, have clear expectations, have lots of wiggle room for fun, and just take in the kids' excitement. Because if we can't do that as a teacher, what can we take in? Because it's such a stressful job. It's that magical time of the year where actually we get loads out of it from the kids. Let them have some fun. Enjoy this term as much as you can.
Brilliant. Love it. Thank you, Dylan.
No problem. Let's play a quick game after this jingle.
Yeah.
And then we'll wrap it up. But I want you to play along at home this game. I want to hear what you would say as well. It's a good one. Before we dive into the game, I want to just ask listeners one more time. Guys, can you please leave us a review wherever you're listening to your podcast? It really helps us out. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever it is. 5 stars if you don't mind. And you can find us on Instagram at Teach Sleep Repeat Podcast. Not only is that where we post silly memes and polls and things that we use in the podcast sometimes, but it's where you can message us directly and I will see it and I will reply. I love seeing people saying they're listening and they've got questions or they want advice, or they're just saying, wow, guys, I love it, because you know what? It feeds my ego. I love it. So if you are listening, do get in touch. Let us know. We love talking to you guys. Bro. This game then, Hayden, we've got 5 education-related topics or words that we've come up with ourselves. I don't know what you've come up with. You don't know what I've come up with.
One separate.
You're going to say the said topic and I need to give my 1-word instant response. We can expand on it after if we want to make it, you know, a bit clear what we're actually talking about, but 1-word rapid response.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool. Let's do that. Ready?
Yeah.
I've got my first. So they're all educational, like phrases or just words, okay? So first one, the caretaker.
Legend. Legend. Absolute legend.
Explain.
You think about your caretaker, right? They just do everything. And
Yeah.
and also they're everywhere, right? I
Yeah.
feel like sometimes I could leave my room, the caretaker could be in my room fixing the carpet or something, and I'll say, oh, 1 second, I'm just going to go and grab some stuff. I'll leave my room, go into the staff room to get my printer. He's there fixing the printer.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, you're just in my room. And then I walk back and he's outside.
You look up and he's on the roof.
It's like Spider-Man. Oh, yeah, just fixing the roof. He's just everything.
Yeah.
Absolute legend. Can't do enough for everyone. The kind of person where you're like, you can just rely on them.
Yeah, and
They're
that was
so reliable.
nice about- maybe we've just been really
maybe.
lucky.
Reliable.
But like, I think, between us, the caretakers, we worked at 2 schools at the same.
yeah,
I've worked
yeah,
at another
yeah,
school
yeah.
as well. All 3 caretakers I've known have been the nicest human beings.
Yeah, yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that.
Can't do enough for everyone.
Next one, ready?
Yep.
Shirt and trousers.
Uncomfortable. Oh, let me change it. Archaic.
Oh, archaic. Explain. Uncomfortable is easy to understand. Why archaic?
Archaic, because I think that is the classic example of we do something because we've always done it.
Sure.
Classic example. If we actually just stop for a minute and if you just listed what my job was as a primary school teacher,
Yeah.
right, and all the things I have to do,
Yeah.
you would not come to the conclusion that the right attire for that job would be smart shoes, trousers, and shirt.
Yeah, I agree. I
It
agree.
is absolutely ridiculous. Get over it. I'm not modeling anything for the kids.
Yeah.
There are a million jobs. Half of them don't require shirt and trousers anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not setting the tone. What if they want to become a zookeeper? Oh, sorry, kids. Mr. Price, when I was in school, didn't wear a shirt and tie and trousers and smart shoes, so I can't possibly become a zookeeper anymore, which doesn't even wear these things. Oh, but I do want to work in an office when I'm older. Oh, but my primary school teacher didn't quite wear that nice suit, did he, when he was helping me glue some stuff in my book and make a card for Christmas?
And doing PE.
Yeah, it's just
I agree.
insane.
I agree. We're going to love this next one then. Next one. That was a good answer. Teacher assessments. I'm not talking proper summative assessments. I'm talking the ones where it's like, what's your opinion? Teacher assessments.
Okay.
I can see your
Yeah.
brain. You're thinking.
I want to say the right
harsh?
thing because it's only got one word. Overused.
Okay. What do you mean?
I mean, we're asked to do it too much.
Right.
I think it's kind of pointless. Like I
Excessive.
wanted to say pointless, but I don't think assessment is pointless. I think it is very good as a teacher to understand where your children are and not necessarily just always just go off the test and understand that there's some wiggle room there and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
But I
sure.
think the amount of time we put into doing it and maybe sometimes what's expected to like look through books and get a really accurate assessment of where they are in their geography. Are they working towards or are they low working towards? Are they low expected? Or how many of these have they managed to meet? And can you highlight in green if they met it and orange if they haven't? And I've
Yeah,
got 15
yeah.
different things for you to go through in this one subject, by the way. You've still got to do it for history as well, and for art, and for PE, and for English, and for maths. Get over it.
Yeah.
Just
Especially when you're like, okay,
calm
what are they
down.
used for? Oh, nothing. Do they affect your playing? No, we planned it last year. So, does anything? No. Doesn't do
Just
anything.
teacher assessment
Yeah,
because
teacher
it
assessment.
says somewhere we've got to do teacher
Are
assessment.
they tracked by the government? No. Anyone look at them? Ofsted when they come in, do they look at them? Nope, don't look at assessments anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry, what are we doing them for? Yeah, literally, I agree. School dinners.
One word for school dinners. Inadequate.
Yeah.
I think they're inadequate.
And why do you think that, Mr. Rashford?
I think in general, if you speak to anyone looking at their school, there's some schools have
Yeah,
amazing
food.
Yeah, amazing, fine. But I think in general, if we're actually looking at what is served up to the majority of children, especially those children on free school meals, who by definition are the poorest in our society,
Yeah. And
need
it.
and need this food because you don't know what's happening before and after school.
Yeah.
And yes, we can't have complete control of what parents do, but do you know what? We can have control over these dinners. So whatever your opinion is of what parents should be doing at home, whatever, let's make sure what we're actually giving them in the middle of the day is really good. It's not great. I don't think it's fantastic food that they're getting.
No.
I think if we're actually, as a society, again, if we listed things that are important to us, I think our children eating really good, nutritious, quality food should be really high on our list and get much more attention and much more funding, and it should be much more important.
Yeah. No, brilliant point. Brilliant point. Last one. You ready? AI.
Misunderstood. Okay. I think people who are scared AI will take our jobs misunderstand
Yep.
its use. I think people who say it's going to solve everything in education also misunderstand it.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of misunderstanding going
Yeah.
on. I think it has very specific use. I think there are huge problems around how much energy it takes and consumes up. That is not being fixed, and that's going to be an issue as we move towards using it more and more. But equally, I just don't think it's very good yet. I think it might get there, I think it probably will get there.
Yeah.
But right now, I think it's really good for administrative stuff. I think
It's a good little tool.
Yeah, it's a good tool. Like it can write you an awkward letter to a parent.
Yeah.
You know, it can write you a letter to the governors. It can sort a school letter for a trip. It can look at, it can help you out with a healthcare plan. With targets. You can write it in a way where it's like an actionable target. And help you
It's
out.
that turning something informal to formal that's really helpful, isn't it? I can bullet point a list and I can turn this into this formal letter.
Yeah.
Cool, you've saved me loads of time because I've got all my points across.
The ultimate thing is reports.
Yeah.
Okay? I think it's the ultimate tool where it's like, that is exactly its bread and butter. It's reports.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the teaching, the lessons, the planning, it can help, but I think it's still at the point where it's much better for a teacher to impart 90 to 95% of the actual work and understanding and ideas to. I don't think it's quite there yet. So misunderstanding on all parts. I think right now it's just fine for some stuff.
I'm going to ask you that again in 5 years.
Yeah, it might change.
See where it's at.
I think it will change. If it doesn't change, it'll be really weird.
Yeah, because a lot of money's been pumped into it right now. I think it will change. Yeah.
Ready?
Okay, my 5. Okay, go on.
Okay, singing assembly.
Fun.
Yeah,
It's just fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice. I love it when you're like, you're not necessarily in assembly, but you know it's singing assembly and you can hear them singing.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear 400 kids singing a hymn.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it at school. When I was a kid, I'd go home and like practice the songs. I loved it. I loved singing assembly.
Yeah. And he has got the whole world in his hands.
Yeah, he does.
Okay, next one. Written feedback marking. Written in books. Written feedback.
I love how we both went a very similar thing there. Written mark feedback.
Specifically, writing in a child's book to give them feedback on a lesson.
Inefficient.
Okay, so not completely pointless.
No, not pointless. I think I inefficient from our perspective.
Sure.
I think feedback is essential for children. Yeah. How like, honestly, how else could they improve really without actual feedback? Yeah. I get that the next lesson will obviously teach them the next thing.
Yeah, but you still need to know what
they know. But you need to know what they do. And obviously we pick that up in loads of ways. I generally know by the end of the lesson, I've had enough feedback from the hour that I've been standing in front of them, seeing them do things. That's enough feedback 99% of the time. So me then going, right, I've done 1 hour where I've gathered 99% of the information I need to know how I should deliver tomorrow's lesson. I'm now going to spend an hour and a half, even longer, looking through their books to see if I can top that at 1% up. Complete waste of time. It's very, very inefficient. Could I pick something up? Maybe.
Yeah.
Not the best way to do it though.
Agreed. No, brilliant. Okay, next one. Verbal feedback stampers. To stamp in the book to say, I gave verbal feedback to this child, and almost like an excuse why you haven't written anything in the book.
Condescending.
Really? Condescending to who?
Condescending to the teacher from the top, because obviously you're told to do that.
You're given like
no teacher in the history of teaching has decided from their own free will that is essential for them to do. No one.
Verbal feedback or writing?
No, writing. Put the stamper in.
Yeah, because everyone does verbal feedback, right?
Yeah, of course they do. No one's thought, I better prove to myself that I did that. I was like, how will I remember that I did this? No one's doing that. You're only doing it because you've been told, so that you can prove to me or X that you've done it. Can you put this in? It's like, no, actually I can't.
There's two things that really crack me up about this. Number one is the idea that teachers don't do verbal feedback. Yeah. Like, can you imagine doing a lesson where there's no verbal feedback?
That's why I find it condescending.
It's like, okay, so what do you think the answer to this question is? And they get it wrong. They say 50 and you just go, what do you think the answer to this question is? It's incomparable. It's like inconceivable to think.
It's also just such a stupid way of proving it. Do you know what I've done in my career?
Yeah.
I've gone, they want to see this, don't they? Boop, 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 there you go. Okay, those kids verbal feedback. Yeah. Honestly, I've bodged that because I'm like, obviously I've given verbal feedback to kids and I've forgotten to stamp it in the moment.
That's
so
the
I
other
just
thing.
Make it up randomly.
That's the other thing. It actually, what it actually does, in my opinion, is when you don't see, if verbal feedback stampers exist and they're part of your school policy and you put it in sometimes, what it makes it look like is for 5 other lessons, you've not given them any verbal feedback. Because there's no stamper. And it's like, oh God, no, of course I give them am I just going to stamp it every day then? So come on, just get it in the bin, trust your teachers. They're obviously going to give verbal feedback. If you open a book and there's like, honestly, it doesn't even mean they've given verbal feedback. You could open a blank page, right? And you'd be like, do you know what? I kind of trust my teachers to have given verbal feedback. Maybe they didn't. Right? If the next page has a verbal feedback stamper, it doesn't actually mean that they definitely got that verbal feedback you're thinking. It means they stamped it that day. Do you know what? There have been genuinely times, like you said before, where I've just gone, oh God, I need to do it here. Stamp.
Yeah.
And there's no different from one lesson to the other.
Even though I know how to teach. That's why I find it so condescending. I'm like, do I really need to put this little stamper in a book? Do you think I'm that bad of a teacher that I haven't picked up the literal core essential part of teaching, which is to talk to the kids? Of course I have.
2 more. This was meant to be a quick game, but it's the whole conversation. Attendance awards.
Misused.
Yeah, how would you use them?
Maybe that's not the right word. What I mean is, I think they're used for a purpose, but they're doing something. I can't word this. They're misused in the sense that we think they're serving a purpose that they're not.
Right. Okay.
Like we think
Yeah.
we're like, that this is going to like reward kids good attendance and encourage the others to get into school more.
Sure.
When really all it does is make the kids who aren't in control of their own attendance feel bad about the fact that their parents didn't get up.
What's that? Come full circle in this episode, and we're judging people for attendance when it's not actually their fault.
Yeah,
Oh.
genuinely, yeah. When a 7-year-old sat there feeling bad,
Yeah.
because
They're in hospital for a week.
Yeah.
With appendicitis.
Okay, that I was just going to
That's the
literally
ultimate
say,
version, isn't
yeah,
it?
of course, that's
Yeah.
like the extreme, but one that's where it's just like hidden, where it's like, okay, the 7-year-old's feeling bad because once again in that morning, no one got them out of bed, no one was there to get them out of bed, they had to get themselves to school. Way harder a task than anyone else, but they were 5 minutes late.
Yeah. Oh,
Right?
no, you don't get an award though.
Don't get an award, you were 5 minutes late, you didn't meet the
Do
registration
you know
mark.
what? They should get an award more than anyone. Kids
Yeah,
who are getting
got
themselves into
themselves to
school every
school.
morning.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So I
disgusting.
think just stop doing
I
it.
think. Do you know what I would say? Just to kind of balance this a bit. I don't think people are being snide and horrible when they introduce.
No,
them.
that's what I mean. That's why.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Misuse isn't the right word, but I'm trying to capture that.
Yeah.
In I misinterpreted maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't think generally as a blanket thing, like just saying to kids, telling kids they should just try and get into school. I don't think it's necessarily bad to encourage coming to school. I just think maybe give them like monetary rewards to the same old kids whose parents are like middle class families.
Yeah,
just getting
sure.
It's just I'm just like it just
Yeah.
feels a bit
Oh,
icky.
you get a hot chocolate.
So I'll tell you what, they got a hot chocolate at home as well. That kid didn't.
Yeah.
And they got themselves to school 5 days in a row and they missed one day. Like,
Yeah,
come
I agree.
on.
I agree.
Anyway, yeah, no.
Completely. And I think a lot of the attendance stuff is forced down on heads and stuff, like from the outside. They need
Yeah,
to be
well,
seen to be doing
it
something.
will be now.
Literally.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Golden time.
It's kind of similar, I suppose. That's really hard.
Do you know what I'm gonna? Whilst you're thinking,
Yeah, go on.
I don't think I like golden time.
Yeah, this is why I'm a bit stuck in
Yeah.
my head. I'm trying to think of one word for golden. I mean, just break this game. What would your one word be if you got one?
I would probably say golden time. I would say. I don't want to say misused again, but I would say if someone was to ask me, what do I think about golden time?
Unnecessary.
Yeah, unnecessary.
That's my word.
It would be the word. It's like it's fine, but you don't need to do it.
Yeah,
I don't think you should have built into a timetable a reward time.
I agree.
I think rewards should be based on doing something.
Yeah, spur of the moment. So I essentially do a golden time. It's just really random.
Sure.
So when my class do something really nice, and then they've gone above and beyond together, and I've said to them, hey, do you know what, guys? You carry on doing this for another day, and I'll take you outside 10 minutes at the end of the day tomorrow. And they do it.
Yeah.
It's kind of golden time, isn't it? But I don't have like on Friday,
Yeah.
everyone gets golden time, and except for you because you were late to school.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's not your fault. You were late to school,
Yeah.
and
You don't have an attendance award
and you were
either.
misbehaving because actually your home life's horrible. It's just I just feel like it turns back into. All the kids with really nice family lives that are probably just statistically more likely to behave better on average. We're going to reward you for having that family life that you can't control. And the other kids, you don't get it.
I don't think there's anything more wrong with rewarding. You know, like the idea of giving children golden time in terms of a reward, obviously not. I agree with you. It's the regimented every Friday 2:30 golden time.
Yeah.
You don't need that sometimes.
When you've got that one
You
kid
just
that misses
don't
it
need
every week as well.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, there's something just slightly. I agree.
Yeah.
I don't want to completely shun it, but there's something icky about these things.
It's like detention almost, where it's like, oh, what? The same 3 kids have detention every single week during the whole of secondary school. Well, detention's not doing the job then, is it?
Yeah, no.
Like, okay, golden time, get it every single week. Golden time, and the same kids are missing it every single week. Cool. They're not doing it because they're going to
Something's
get 20 minutes on a bungee jump. Not a bungee jump, a
Jump,
pogo stick.
yeah.
I mean, a pogo stick.
That would be extreme.
But yeah, they're not going to get 20 minutes on a pogo stick on a Friday. Doesn't mean they're going to then, in English on Tuesday, have the foresight to think, oh, I better do this work because I want the... They're not going to think that.
Or Mr.
And
Trice,
that's why they're
or
missing
Mr. Price is going to jump off a bridge. On a bungee jump.
We got bungee jump and golden time,
I
kids.
love that pogo stick
Right.
became bungee jump.
Let's wrap it up there, shall we?
Yeah, good fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was really good. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next
In the
week.
Christmas term.
Oh my gosh! What's Christmas time now? Ah!